Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the Sevens. This one, a ninth place semi-final between South Africa and the Uruguayans. Now, South Africa, to be honest, I thought they'd be a lot higher than they are here. They missed out on the quarterfinals due to not being within 7 in their defeat to New Zealand. So only 3 points was, in the end, the separation between them qualifying and missing out. So they've gone with quite a makeshift team in this contest. Of course, if they win this, they will go on to face the winner of Kenya versus USA, which at the moment does look like it's going to be the Kenyans. But looking through at the starting lineup for the Blitzboks, it is Ryan Oosterhuizen, Tristan Lades, Shilton van Wyk, Xander Reinders, Gino Cupido, also Ricardo James Duarte, and Impi Visa, the last man. And the starting side in terms of this Uruguay side, it is Akiki, Diego Aldal, Thomas Echeverri, Soto, Vidal is there, Juan Gonzalez, and Liechtenstein, the last man. And the starting side won me $27.50 due to Moana Pacifica winning by 13 plus. Says no mum. We have got their South African Schoolboy Rugby. Yeah, there was mention of it earlier on, a massive win for one of the South African Schoolboy sides. And that is exactly what South Africa will want here up against Uruguay. Maybe not quite the 100 points, but they'll certainly want to get themselves a victory anyway. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they end up going, not just for this end of the competition, but also Singapore next week. Back-to-back legs always seems to be that we find the form of certain sides in the second leg more so than the first. I think that the Blitzboks are going to be one of those teams. My fellow Hamish, you're still delivering to the rugby world. We are indeed. We have still got another about 8.5 hours of streaming today, and we are already up to about 3 hours in. So she's going to be brutal. An all-nighter, about 13 more hours of being awake. So really, we're only just getting started. But I hope you are doing well. I hope you're excited for the Sevens or some form of the rugby that is going to be on over this weekend. We've got the URC as well, just happening very shortly. Looking at the benches for these two sides, the South Africans, they have decided to leave some of the guys who were starting the other matches on the bench for this game, like Selvin Davids. Zane Davids is there, but we haven't seen a huge amount of him throughout the competition. Saviwe Suez-Wapi, DeWalt Human, and also Donovan Don, who looked like he had a bit of a shoulder injury near the end of the last match, but they have decided to keep him on the bench. Tafanaberi is there for the Uruguay side. And Vargas and Silva, two other men to keep an eye on later on in the contest too. But Kenya are looking like they are going to win this game. So that would make it a South African, just an African in general contest. Yep, Patrick Odongo Okongo does score himself another. Now, for anyone wondering what this means in terms of who wins this when they play next, the upcoming game, it will be at 5 p.m. And that would be, at the moment, Kenya versus the winner of South Africa versus Uruguay. We have got the playoff games involving the quarterfinalists from 5:51 onwards, 7-7 in the Super Rugby game. So a very quick start there, only 10 minutes in and already 2 tries have been scored. They mentioned about the weakness of that game. So I feel like it is going to be a bit of a damp one, but that can also lead to a lot of tries being scored if the players are able to adapt. But currently still 50 seconds remaining in this contest before, I believe, Kenya will want to kick this ball into touch. We've got the 4 quarterfinals just around the corner, first of which will be Australia versus Great Britain, followed by Argentina versus Ireland, Fiji versus Spain, which is actually a bronze medal rematch of a contest that we did see earlier on last league. And then alongside that, it's also going to be New Zealand versus France. A delayed thought perhaps Hamish fell asleep, says Bruce, although for you to be able to see delayed, of course, meant that I had to be here. But no, we haven't fallen asleep yet. Still another 13, 14 hours to go. Is Brazil women any good? They are through to the quarterfinal. It's going to be, it's an interesting one because they can cause an upset every once in a while. They actually beat Australia in the last Sevens comp, or the competition prior to that. In fact, no, it was last one, because that's when Fiji versus New Zealand was the final. But yeah, I do still think it will be too much of a mountain for them to be able to climb. Do let me know your score predictions for this contest, ladies and gents. South Africa, they haven't had the greatest start, but I do still say that they haven't been awful throughout this one. In terms of the competition, they had a tough game up against the Aussies when Australia played some of their best rugby they almost ever have. They had their match up against New Zealand where they couldn't find their rhythm till the second half, and sadly that was too little too late for them in that one. And then also alongside that, we did see their first game up against Uruguay, in which they did actually beat them 40 points to 7. So this is going to be the rematch. USA are going to score late in their contest up against Kenya, but it won't change anything. The Kenyans still will be facing the winner of this contest. I do think that in some regards, the switches in the Blitzboks starting lineup might actually be a good thing. Something about a couple of their games, they just never seem to find their rhythm. Australia did it perfectly, and it's exactly the mindset that Uruguay need to have going into this match, which is stop Australia from touching the ball. If only you would stop us having to use ExpressVPN to view the games, says Hamish. And there, yeah, it depends on where you are in the world, doesn't it, a little bit? But, yeah, it's a pretty tricky one because they used to just show them on the website, and it was nice and simple. Everyone knew where they could find it. If you were in a certain country, of course, you would have your own broadcasters, but a majority of the time, you know, if you went on the website, you could watch the games, but they completely changed that. We are now ready for this match. South Africa versus Uruguay. 9th place semi-final. The winner to take on the Kenyans. Once again in the starting lineups, Oosterhuizen, Visa and Randers, alongside Ricardo, James Duarte, Schutter, Van Wyk, Caputo, and also Tristan Lades. For the Uruguayans, Vidal, Echeverri, Ardo, Gonzalez, Liechtenstein, also Alvarez and Soto, the last man in their side too. But this match has been delayed by about 7 minutes or so, so running a little bit behind in terms of the overall Sevens circuit. And I think that is just because earlier on we had a couple games run a bit long and they haven't really made up that ground. So that means quarterfinal times could maybe vary a little bit too. South Africa beat Uruguay 40 points to 7 in their previous encounter, 26 points to 12 to South Africa. Also, you're saying it's going to be a little bit closer in this next one. Perhaps Uruguay have learnt more from that game than the South Africans did. But yeah, they have to take a page out of Australia's book, which was pretty much starve South Africa of possession. Because if you're able to do that, they find it very hard to score tries. They only scored themselves one up against the Aussies, one up against New Zealand too. The Hong Kong curse continues for the Blitzboks, says Jeremy Jacobs. And hashtag pray for the box, says Xander there. We've seen 3 losses in a row for Uruguay. One up against the Australians, one up against New Zealand, and one up against the South Africans. Nick Hogan, the New Zealand referee, will be in charge of this contest. Now, if South Africa had just got themselves those 3 extra points up against New Zealand, they would be playing in a couple hours' time actually facing New Zealand in the quarterfinals. Delayed, South Africa searching for a better team or coach maybe. Here's Bruce in there as well. But that's the thing, I think they've got the pool of players. They're sitting 4th in the overall standings, which at the moment, with how competitive it has been, is not terrible. It's just been a tough comp. And there's going to be ups and downs, but I do still think that they'll be relatively up there, nicely claimed inside of the 22 by the youngster Juan Gonzalez. Good tackle made by Impivisa. Currently Uruguay going to be deep inside of their own 22, so they have to try and work their way forward. Big shot coming in from Xander Reinders. And that's the thing. Some of these guys for South Africa don't get a huge amount of game time normally, so this is the type of trial match in a way that could earn you a lot more opportunity in the future. The amount of times we've seen a player who wasn't really given many minutes to then go into a game like this and all of a sudden he's starting next games or next series is actually quite impressive. But Ardo gets his offload away to Echeverri. We'll go into the middle of the park now, and it looks like there might be a bit of an injury here for Ardo on the near side of the field. So Uruguay, just for now, they're going to be playing with 6 players, which also matches the number on the back of Ardo's shirt. Sitting on the halfway line, though, for Uruguay. Good position so far. Was, like I said, the main talking point that they needed to make sure they focused on in this contest. That was a knock-on in the breakdown, but they are going back for the original penalty for the South Africans being offside. Uruguay, they won't be in too much of a hurry here to use this one. Making sure that they have got 3 men behind before they go for the kick towards the touchline. The last thing you want is to be offside in that scenario, and it is a nice kick, getting them down to maybe only 25 metres out from the Blitzboks line. Now, Uruguay, they struggle to beat South Africa, but they've been competitive. Spain actually have been a little bit more of the dark horse as of late in terms of those European sides, or Spanish-speaking sides, I should say, of course, Uruguay and South America, alongside Argentina. Now Ardo, on across to this left-hand side, nicely piercing the gap there, and it's a good tackle made by Cupido. Off to the left again here, only sitting 15 metres out. Look at the pass on the inside. It's going to be claimed by South Africa, but then dropped. 10 metres out from their own line now. It is going to be another scrum. Is Cheslin Colby playing? He is not playing, no. But it would be awesome if he was, to be fair. He'd have plenty of pace. I feel like he would certainly tear it up. That's the thing. We saw Antoine Dupont go into the Sevens side of things. Maybe, the opportunity could be there in the future of other men transferring over. Viewers down, Blitzboks fans not too happy maybe. I'm disappointed with the recent results. And yeah, I mentioned about it earlier on that Super Rugby stream. And I said how when the Blitzboks were on their massive winning streak, they had so much support. But then as soon as they start losing, they do lose a huge number of supporters, which is unfortunate. And it's the sad reality of, when people see you losing, people seem to disappear. But the ones who stick around throughout the highs and lows for the Blitzboks, of course, will feel a lot more, pride in terms of the victories when they get them. Nice run forward from Impi Visa. They haven't had a huge amount of the ball already, the Blitzboks, in this contest, but Visa will run the full length of the field and score the try with a forward roly-poly. Got to be careful doing that, the big man. The last thing you want is an injury to your back. Wait, never mind, wrong version. If Will Jordan played Sevens OMG and Fair with the friends, Sears Bruce, and they're well, but nice carry from Impi Visa, and he was really working hard with his leg strength, or at least pumping the legs, trying to keep driving towards the line. That was, I don't think he should have done that somersault, Impi Visa. I'll be honest, that seemed like it really hurt. He'll play it off as if it didn't, but now he's got his hands on his hip and kind of looks like he's going like that, as if to say, the back wasn't supposed to do that. Currently 2.5 minutes remaining in this first half. It is kicked off by South Africa and just travels the 10, but beautifully taken by Uruguay. Did it without getting lifted into the air. Ardo does look like he has recovered from his injury, almost breaking through. Was Liechtenstein. Now short side. They've pushed it straight into touch there, Uruguay. South Africa are going to have themselves another line out. A little bit of frustration there. And D-Mac would be dangerous in sevens, I reckon. Says time to meet your maker. Yeah, there's quite a few guys of that union side of things that if they went over to sevens, they'd probably find pretty good success. Now Ricardo James Duarte. It's normally those guys with either pure pace or great vision, though, isn't it? That transfer and do perfectly. A chance here. Cupido. Taken down, only about on the halfway line. That's Brian Goh, who is nicknamed the Blue Squirrel because he would hide a bag of chips. No one else could have any. It's a very long story, I'll be honest, but just to summarise it, I don't know Brian. Now, nice step here on the halfway line. Ricardo James Duarte, currently 80 seconds remaining in this first half. South Africa are leading by the 7 points. Now, good run from Xander Reinders. Gets it off to Ryan Oosterhuizen. To the left again. Pivisa has to play halfback. Last minute of the first half. Whoever wins this will face Kenya in the next contest. Nice attack and run forward from the youngster. And he will score this try. Gino Cupido. And with 50 seconds remaining, Blitzboks strike again. So great start to this match. Exactly what they needed. The scoreboard's been a little bit behind, but it has now slightly updated in the right direction. But Tristan Lays just tells him to go on the inside, which Cupido does well and truly follow those instructions. and does get the try. A lot of strapping on the hamstrings, which is a little bit of concern. When you see a guy who's got quite a bit of pace, is pumping his legs, sometimes you get that little bit of a concern that maybe one of them's going to give way, but South Africa now leading at the moment, 14 points to nil, with 10 seconds remaining in the half. This will be an interesting one for the South Africans, whether or not they do look to get one last try. I have $200 on Uruguay, all my rice money. Well, that rice money might not be coming back. Ustahazen going to be tackled 30 metres out from the line now. Impifisa on off to the left-hand side, hit that scoreboard with a stick, might work better. Says Bruce, bounce pass out to Tristan Lades, goes for the grubber in behind. Uruguay are back there, and they will just boot this one into touch. It's going to be half-time at 14 points to nil. So a very good start to the match for South Africa. Maybe they would have liked one more try if we're being honest, but still, Uruguay did have possession for a good 90 seconds to 2 minutes at the start. I am back for the Sevens, says Brandon Game, and we have got quite a few matches taking place back to back to back that are happening after this one. I believe we've got about a 40-minute break that is going to be coming up, maybe a little bit longer. Where is it? Next game is at 10:50. So you're only going to be maybe a 40-minute break in between, and then we're straight into the semi-finals. Dream 7 teams: Cody Taylor, Takiaho de Groot, Scott Barrett, Josh Lord, Adi Savia, Cam Roygard, D-Mac, Anton. I think that's Ioane, is it? Which honestly isn't terrible. Like, it is really miles away from the spelling, but you have said it in a way that made me think of Ioane, so it's well done in a way. And Sean Stevenson, says Craig there too. Now second half is fast approaching. Do you think that South Africa can still get maybe another 3 tries? Uruguay maybe have one in them too, though. But it is looking more than likely that Uruguay will be up against the USA in the next playoff game, even although they might not have another match. Now that I think about it, oh no, there it is. At 4:09 p.m. is when that one would be taking place. But Kenya versus South Africa could be happening at 5 p.m., which is a 6 a.m. start for you guys in South Africa. Nice early morning one for the 9th place playoff. Are you covering Sevens tomorrow? Is there any cricket today? No cricket today, as our cricket has come to a close, which is probably lucky because this weekend was going to be far too hectic to be able to do the cricket as well. But yeah, Sevens tomorrow we will be doing on the channel too. Nicely taken by Uruguay right off the kickoff, and this is going to be a brilliant opportunity to be able to score early, but they give the ball away. Well watched by Cupido to know where that next pass was going to be going. Now South Africa only 5 metres out from their own try line. Ricardo James Duarte going off to Impivesa with the draw and pass, and Shilton Van Wyk. He'll be able to run it in, cricket, says Sebastian. Yeah, sadly the season is over. I did not really play that much, if I'm being completely honest. I think I probably only played less than 10 games, which, you know, at the time it seems like it's not too bad till you finish the season and then you realise, oh, I could have played a little bit more. I was at the under-20s final and ran into All Black Scouts. I reckon I've got what it takes when I'm older, says Craig. So you were at the under-20s final, but you weren't playing? Is that what's happened there? That is going to be a nice try from... Oh, not a nice kick, though. That one hardly got off the ground, and yes, says Craig. So yeah, just make sure you keep on training hard and take your opportunities. Play more than 10 games a season if you can. Don't do a me. How many hundreds and 50s did we bank in this season? Absolutely zero, if we're being honest. I did go up to the next grade, but also, like, there wasn't a lot of seriousness in the team in general. You know, like, I batted probably about 7 different spots in the lineup. And just, yeah, it was definitely not as organised as last year anyway. So hopefully it does improve for next season. That's going to be another try for the South Africans. Running it in, Cupido will get his second try. But yeah, the closest I got was about 43. And then that was... I think I went out in the end because we needed a whole heap of runs off a very short amount of time. Under 13's the type of group that uses beer as an energy drink. Pretty much, yeah. So, you know, it was unfortunate. We had a lot of trainings that we didn't get to train. But, yeah, it was interesting. And Hong Kong is still partying at new home. I feel like old one. Says Brandon. And my real name is Jack. So I will try and remember that, just because I assume that this is maybe your dad's account or someone's, which is why it's got Craig. But that kick is successful, making the score now 26-0 in favour of the South Africans. They're working towards that total that they did have in the first contest. It's going to be the penalty for playing the man in the air in favour of Uruguay. And it looks like we're going to have a couple subs being made here too. Zane Davids, the Wild Human. It's fine if you forget. I'll try my best to remember though. South Africa sitting second in the overall standings. Uruguay only on the 15 points. It's crazy to think that Ireland could find themselves being demoted this year. Same with the USA, which is really strange. But of course, Samoa, they'll be trying to work their way back onto the circuit if they can. I haven't actually seen how the Sevens Challenger Series sits just currently. That one is not straight from Uruguay. In fact, while we're at it, Sevens Challenger Series. We got some sort of table here, hopefully. The pools and schedules are there. So Cape Town happened. Who finished where? Portugal and Kenya won. So Portugal got the job done for the men's side of things. And then the Cape Town League, we did see no results from, unfortunately. The Wild Human in that time has scored another one. Not keen on Ireland, says Bruce, as in like their team, the players, or just the place in general. As New Zealand's still competing in the tournament, they are indeed. They will be going head-to-head with France in the quarterfinals, which are not too far away. But yeah, the Challenger Series is actually really hard to get information on, unless you're like digging super deep. Which is, it's a bit of a shame, just because, you know, the likes of Germany, Samoa, Portugal. Can we get a table? Rugby standings that only shows the HSBC side of things, not the Challenger Series. So, yeah, Portugal and Kenya win the second round in Cape Town, but I'm not too sure who won the first round. Now, another penalty goes the way of Uruguay. 2.5 minutes remaining, managing to hang on to possession, but Ricardo James Awate put in the good shot. Now Ardo tries to make his way through. Nice stepping coming from the Uruguayans, and this is going to be their first try by the looks of it. So it's going to be a very similar score to what we saw between these two sides in the group stage, which I guess is, it's good in a way because it shows consistency, but at the same time, we're also sitting in a position of Uruguay would like to be a lot closer. They're not that keen on Ireland. Too many short Irish women there with fiery tempers, says Bruce. It sounds like one's rejected you in the past, or something's gone wrong in a relationship that's now made you hate a whole country. Recapping on the last live, I was in that live texting, same with my brother, says Jack. Of course, it is greatly appreciated you tuning in. We are going to be here for the quarterfinals as well as the URC matches happening in the near future as well. Now to the right-hand side, bit of a fumble there of the Wild Human. It's going to be another scrum feed in favour of Uruguay. Only 80 seconds remaining in this contest. Like I said, the next game that we are covering will be taking place at 10:50 PM New Zealand time. Problem with rugby and particular sevens, as you need to be beyond fit. I remember in school, just playing touch rugby was taxing. That's why I preferred cricket. Says Xander. And yeah, like some of these guys, like probably don't get the credit they deserve. In fact, you could almost say all the sevens guys, the amount of ground that you cover in the short snippets of sevens. And some people say, oh, it's only 14 minutes, so it's a lot easier. But there is a reason that those guys who convert from sevens into union are always the fittest players on the field. And it's because of that sevens background of just constant cardio out there. Whether you're defending or attacking, you're constantly moving. Reds are winning in Super Rugby. It'll be up against the Western Force. It'll kick him behind to error attempt to Ricardo James Duarte. In fact, this time it was Zane Davids trying to chase after another penalty. Will go the way of the Blitzboks for no clear release. Not seeing too many others that have horrible Irish women. Just not just my personal experience, says Bruce. Well, you probably can't base a few people and then count it as the whole, like, kind of population. But I met some very nice Irish people in my time. Irish workers are normally the ones that work with George as well because of the kind of farming background. Going to the right-hand side now. Nice chance here. Oh, but it's going to be knocked on. Ricardo James Duarte jumps on it. That is the knock-on into the game now. And South Africa will win it 33 points to the 7. So our next live stream taking place in around that 45 minutes time, like I said. 2 games of the Sevens back-to-back for the quarters. Then a bit of a break. Then 2 more games back-to-back. And also the URC match between the Bulls and Zebre relatively straight after. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all for the next one.